W's and L's, the weekly recap show where we give a dub to the things that we like and an L to the things that we don't. It's on you.
All right, man. Let's get the list up here. Excuse my focus being off just a bit. Michigan playing in the background here. Oh, yeah, Bumpkin.
And losing.
For now. Oh, you on record hating. So if we win this game, you're going to have to be on record hating while the game was going. I guess that's normal for a No State fan. Anyways.
Don't like your team.
Anyways. On to my first L. Actually, you know what? This is perfect. Thank you. Thank you for setting this up. My first L going out to head athletic director at the Ohio State University, Mr. Gene Smith.
Put some respect on it.
No thanks.
The Ohio State
I'm fresh
University.
out of respect. We ain't doing no respect, no sportsmanship over here. I'm Deontay Wilder.
Fair enough.
Gene Smith, when asked about playoff expansion last week, had some interesting comments. The idea has been floated about having home playoff games included in some sort of playoff expansion, which I'm all for. It's honestly a little nauseating that like every bowl game, every playoff game, every meaningful game outside of the regular season, even the conference championships to a certain degree, have to be played in these dry, dome, warm weather, kind of capacities. I get it. It's a vacation. It's also a tourist attraction. You're trying to have people come from out of town and spend money.
Mm-hmm.
That's all well and good. Playoffs, though, that's for the bowl games. Keep that shit for the regular bowls. But for playoff games, when we see expansion, because I do think we'll see it, after 2025, when this current contract is up, I do think we will see some on-campus playoff sites to make it beneficial for the other teams, right? Like, just imagine. So who was 6 this year? It was Notre Dame and Oklahoma State were just outside of the playoffs. So imagine round 1.
We were outside of the playoffs. It was Notre Dame and Ohio State.
Was it Notre Dame and Ohio State?
I think
I thought
we
Oklahoma
were 5.
State was like.
I think we were 5 and
7,
and Notre Dame was 6. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it was us and Notre Dame.
Okay, well, whoever it was. Okay, so then let's say that Ohio State was 6, and who was number 1? It was Georgia. No, Bama. Bama was 1. First round of a playoff match in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Ohio State.
Notre Dame was 5. We were 6.
Right. So if I take the top 6 teams, it would be Bama versus Ohio State in the first round in Tuscaloosa.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Michigan versus Notre Dame in the Big House in the first round of the playoffs. First of all, you break all viewership records for a college football game. That's number 1. Number 2, you have 2 blue bloods of college football playing in the playoff. And it's at one of the most historic sites in all of college football, which is the Big House. And that's what you could say about each of these individual sites. Like, yeah, Rose Bowl's great. Sugar Bowl's great. Superdome's great. Great. It's all good. You don't get more iconic than Death Valley. You don't get more iconic than College Station or Camp Randall. Those are the places that hold all the history.
Happy Valley, the Horseshoe.
Yeah, like those places hold the history. Not, it's nice to go to Pasadena to the Rose Bowl. It is. It's nice. But it's not. It does not have all the history that the Horseshoe and the Big House have. So I would not to mention it finally gives northern teams an advantage that southern teams have been reaping the benefits of since bowl seasons were a thing.
That's why I didn't agree with that. I was just like, why wouldn't you want the strategic advantage on your side, especially being that it's going to be in December, January?
That team in particular doesn't like to run the ball, so it's not very conducive to playing cold weather. But in any case, that was a cheap shot, but just let me get it off so we can keep moving forward. It doesn't necessarily do the things for that program, at least historically, that it would have done. At least not right now. You know what I mean? That's not the case right now. Going out there and playing 3 yards in a cloud of dust in a snowy game is not what he liked to see this November. So I just didn't think it was a very
this little cheap shot has grown into multiple, but whatever.
It has not.
It's grown into multiple sentences.
No, I let the one cheap shot was the fact that you guys don't play good in cold weather. But the reality of it is that we played a game in snow and it didn't go well. And now Gene Smith is talking about playing those type of games in a dome. Moving on from Gene Smith's soft ass.
Yeah, well, I wanted to add one thing also revenue would increase for literally the campus, but then everything around it.
Dog, like I like Mark Rogers, Michigan page, and I don't. Because I feel like during the season when he's ranking and he's reviewing the games, he's very fair. But once we get into that block in between the end of the regular season, the end of the national championship, and the start of fall practices, we get into the fan speculation phase. We get into the fan opinion phase. Like, we don't really have constant stories to talk about, so we just start running off stuff. And he was talking about it, and I think where he was coming from, he's saying, well, the revenue splits will be the same either way because that's how they are. Like, you go to a neutral site game, the revenue splits are going to be the same, or maybe slightly higher if a team is, a little higherly rated or anything like that. But the splits are pretty much down the middle, so that it wouldn't really help. And I'm like, bro, you don't understand how the entire economy in Columbus and around Columbus would explode if they had to have a college football playoff game here. Like, what are you saying? He's like, oh, well, I mean, I guess if that game in November was played in clear weather, maybe it would have been a better advantage. Well,
it's a playoff game.
No shit.
Plus, you could pay. You could obviously charge more for the playoff game.
Or nobody wants to come to Columbus in the middle of January or February. They will go wherever college football is being played. Are people not going to go to an NFL playoff game because it's at the Meadowlands?
At the very least, people from Ohio are going to, or the opposing team.
You ever seen a snowy playoff game in Boston, in Foxborough, in Green Bay?
Yeah, it's cap.
Come on, man.
It's cap.
So, yeah. Moving on from Gene Smith, let's get on to the Twitter swindler.
I can't believe we're talking about this. I would have brought it up last week.
Yeah. So, apparently, there was a famous singer-songwriter who got catfished by another famous music person, producer. Turns out that the producer made a whole bunch of shit up about why he couldn't come see old girl. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm messing some shit up here because he actually smacked.
Yeah.
So he tells this girl that he's this famous producer. He's worked with Jay-Z and Drake and Beyonce.
He said Jay-Z and
yeah.
Yeah,
bro.
I know he said he was a songwriter and all that shit. I didn't know about that.
That he's worked with all these people and ends up getting with old girl, right? Who's an actual songwriter, like real life, verified. So he gets the buns, and then afterwards, he starts kind of, what does he do? He starts like moving himself away from her, or like starts ghosting her. I think he made up a story about getting shot or something like that.
So she had flown out, or she was supposed to fly out.
Mm-hmm.
And then right before she was about to fly out, he made up a story about how his cousin died, I believe.
Ah, okay. Oh, yeah. His cousin died, and that the day she was coming was the only time that they could have the service, and he didn't want to just leave her in the hotel room, and she came down.
And she was like, I guess I understand.
Right.
You got to be with your family. Da, da, da. So then there's another situation where she's about to fly out, and this time, or one of the times actually, he went to jail. He got like arrested, or maybe that was a different time, because I remember he got arrested and he had to pay some money. And
it was
I think
also
she paid
a situation where like he was supposed to have been in the hospital and he was unconscious, but the dumbass who said that he was unconscious sent a live video and showed the nigga moving.
It was one of those live photos where like a couple seconds after it moves or whatever, and so it shows him moving after the actual picture is taken. Wild shit.
And you know what? I'm starting to realize that kind of shit is happening more and more and more and more, because first of all, Catfish is still on. They've added a whole nother Catfish show to go over catfishes in the UK. This is still happening.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well, I feel like this is a little different than an actual catfish.
Yeah, no. Well, kind of, sorta. It's kind of the same concept, because he's not who he told her. I was gonna say he's catfishing. Not, his appearance or anything. Career catfishing, not physically catfishing. Yeah. Which is worse though.
I would agree.
Which is worse? Would you rather have an emotional connection with somebody and somebody who can actually make you laugh? I always find that so interesting watching these catfish shows, right? They be having these conversations and they be telling these people all kind of personal stuff. Yeah, we're going to move in together. I want you to meet my kids. Yeah, I went through this with my parents. I went through this in my relationship. I love you, babe this, boo that, baby that. The minute you find out that person doesn't look the way that you think they were, all of a sudden, all that emotional connection shit goes out the window.
Yep.
So then what is worse? If he was lying about his credentials and his wealth and his career, but he still looked the same? Or is it worse for somebody to actually be able to make you happy? Because I believe a lot of these people are happy with the people that they're talking to. Otherwise, why would you be coming on this television show to find out this shit anyways?
Yeah.
Is it worse to be catfished physically, or for him to lie about who he is in real life? Like for him to lie about his career and things of that nature. That's whew.
It's a very interesting situation. That even crazier is his cousin that supposedly died. He like posted a picture.
Was not his cousin.
And now it was like some
fam, you can't stop, can you? You just can't stop.
Yeah, that whole situation was crazy, because then he posted like a like the funeral,
what is that shit called? The program?
Yeah, the program from the funeral, and it was apparently somebody he worked with or some shit or something dumb like that. It was just like, bro, why? Why are you capping so hard? Especially after you got the buns. That's mental illness.
Well, he got the cheeks and he wanted to get out of the relationship with her, so he told her some crazy shit.
You don't live in the same city as her. How hard is it to break things off?
And then the crazy shit ended up getting super wild. I don't think he meant to seek out somebody who was so well connected already and would have the resources to check his bullshit. You know what I mean? Somebody told you that they've worked with Jay-Z before. Jay-Z's probably worked with thousands of people.
Yeah.
Over his career. So like that's probably not even a hard thing to say at this point if you've been working in the music industry for some time and you've had any level of success. I'm just saying he probably ran into the right one. He ran into the one person who could actually call him on his BS.
He also said he ran a business of like, I can't remember what the business was, but it turns out he wasn't like the boss of it. He was actually one of the employees of the business.
Why do people lie like that, man? Like as if no one's ever going to find out. No one's ever going to find out. Ever. Never. No one's ever going to find out that you're not a fucking top flight music producer who's worked with Jay-Z. That's not at all too fantastical. It's not. It's totally believable, and no one's ever gonna find out.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm giving an L out to millennial athletes because this shit is getting nuts. Between Ben Simmons, Kyler Murray, now Zion Williamson, y'all making us look bad. And first of all, can we talk about why the fuck I'm a millennial and I was born in '93?
You're a millennial.
No, fam. I was in school. I was in grade school when the new millennium turned.
Yeah, but
okay, I wasn't born in the new millennium.
But that's not what the term refers to. It refers to somebody who like grew up through the new millennium.
It's not descriptive. It's not, because I don't even act. There's a degree of separation between a 90s baby and somebody who was born in the 2000s.
Millennials actually goes further than us.
Further back?
I'm pretty sure my brother and sister are millennials. And they were born in 83.
That doesn't make any sense, fam. What millennium are you referring to?
It's people who grew up during the millennium.
No, but that can't be. They're Gen X, right? No. Or Gen Z? I don't.
The Gen X is the generation before them.
Gen X is the generation before them, but you're born in 83. Gen X was the 70s? I don't know.
All right, I got it right here. Gen X was 65 to 80.
Jesus Christ.
Millennials are 81 to 96. Gen Z is 97 to 2012.
Okay. Gen Z athletes. I can't even call you a fucking millennial, because apparently being born in the early 2000s is outside of the millennial purview. I'm tired of all of these fucking labels. Anyways, new school athletes, young athletes who are under the age of 25. I'm talking to you, Ben Simmons, Kyler Murray, and Zion Williamson. I'm all for player movement. You know what I'm saying? I advocate for that. I think a lot of people have a hard time grasping being unhappy in your job if you're an athlete and wanting to move. Let me put it to you this way. If you worked at fucking Domino's hired you, said that they were going to pay you a salary and give you all these different types of benefits and support. You get there, those benefits and support are lackluster, and you haven't even received all of them. Do you stay at that job? It's your choice, right? But if you choose to quit, nobody's going to look at you and be like, oh my God, why the hell did you quit your Domino's job, man? And I'm like, good on you. Hope you find something new. Congratulations when you do. For some reason, that doesn't apply to sports teams. Probably has something to do with this whole owner-players relationship. Feels a lot like a plantation mentality, especially in the NFL, where they don't even guarantee the pay to their players.
1,000%.
Probably goes a long way to how people see the relations in employment and what you can and can't do within those confines. But what I'm getting tired of is these athletes, the guys that are supposed to be the next ones, the messiahs. For some reason, if it doesn't pan out early, there is no more perseverance. There's no more put my head down, spend 1,000 hours in the gym and get better. It's all, well, you're scapegoating me, so now I have to leave. You're trying to blame me for this, and now I have to go.
It's blow shit up.
They gave you the franchise. They gave you the support. The Cardinals, fam, I don't even watch football, and I know they moved heaven and earth to get you pieces there. DeAndre Hopkins, J.J. Watt, A.J. Green. If you're not performing, you're not performing. There's nothing that you can go back and say about that. Ben Simmons, I watched you in a playoff game last year be underneath the basket with Trae Young on your hip and you pitched it out. That's you, fam. That's not Doc Rivers. That doesn't have anything to do with Joel Embiid.
Damn sure it doesn't have
anything to do with
And when
you do that shit in Brooklyn, you're not going to be able to turn around and say that niggas are injuring your mental health again. You've already played that card.
Yep. And it damn sure ain't Kevin Durant and Kyrie's fault in those instances.
You smoked the layup, so now you can't run in playoff? You can't run into practice? That's not the organization's fault. If the organization promised you a trade and didn't go through with it, I got you. If the organization promised to draft somebody for you, hire somebody for you, give you certain levels of support and fell short of that, I got it. If you went out there and fell short of how they expected you to perform, you do not get to blow the fucking franchise up as if it's their fault that you failed. So Zion, if you came into the league 30, 40 pounds overweight already having injuries dating from college, haven't been able to stay on the court more than 60 games since you've been in the league, and I believe you've been in for 3 years now. That is not on the organization, that's on you. Nigga ain't been to a practice in 10 weeks. Now, when you got JJ Redick talking about you, fam, that's bad.
It's a fact.
That's bad, because JJ Redick don't talk bad about anyone. Mm-hmm. No one. He never comes out and says anything spicy about anybody.
JJ Redick minds his own business.
He is almost always taking the player side of it. He took the player side in James Harden, took the player side with Ben Simmons. So if James Harden is willing to come out and call you a detached teammate, you're doing something wrong, man. You spoiled, whatever it is. I don't know. But I just don't understand this new wave of, oh, well, I fail and you're blaming me for it, so now fuck all of y'all.
Especially after a team dumps so much into you. They waste a very high pick. They pay you shit tons of money. But somehow,
it's my fault that you won't shoot a layup, Ben. It's my fault you won't put the Big Macs down, Zion. Kyler Murray, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I have no idea. I can't tell you if he stunk it up in a playoff game. I haven't watched him.
They were good at one point, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they talked about him, he was the next coming. Yeah. So I just don't understand.
The Sixers waited a year for Ben Simmons. Gross.
Last L I got is going out to LeBron. This is going to be a quick one because I don't have a lot to say about it, but it needs to be said. You are not going to strong arm an NBA team into drafting your son, fam. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You want to leave? You're going to want to join Cleveland in free agency so that they'll draft Bronny? Go. Bounce. Buy. Because unlike Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss and whoever is still drinking, Ryan Windhorst, whoever's still drinking the Kool-Aid, I realize what you are at this point in your career. And it ain't a fucking way in hell I'm going to draft a player who's not even slated to be taken in the second round at this point.
It's not gonna
so that I can keep you. That's embarrassing to both him and his son.
We're not drafting LiAngelo Ball just so you can join our team this late in your career.
Hey, you want to hear something? LiAngelo's better.
Oh, no, that's a fact.
LiAngelo's better because at least LiAngelo showed up on a draft board.
Yeah.
Before all that shit happened at UCLA, LiAngelo showed up on a draft board. I have not seen a mock draft right now where Bronny's getting picked up at all.
Yep.
You will not strong arm an NBA franchise into drafting your son so that you will play for them because here's the reality, Bron. You're not good enough for that anymore. You're not. Like being the third leading scorer in the NBA don't mean a lot for me because I know the only two places you get those are transition layups and three-pointers. And you're shooting about 30% from three. Your assists are down. The best part of your game is down. You're only averaging just over 5 assists a game.
And a team is going to leverage a draft pick for Bronny knowing you only got a couple years at best.
Fam, you are responsible for where the Lakers are at right now. I'm going to lay it on you because they gave you all the praise for putting this shit together in the summer. And then everybody backs away from it and starts pointing a finger at Rob fucking Pelinka all of a sudden. It was all GM LeBron in the summer. Oh, look, they got Rondo. They got Kendrick Nunn. Fam, Kendrick Nunn has played all of 10 games this entire season. I'm like, Trevor Ariza? Oh, Carmelo Anthony? Oh, my God. Dwight Howard's coming back? Oh, my God. Rajon Rondo's coming back? Oh, my God. And they got Russell Westbrook. Oh, my God. All three of them? And guess who checked his name off on the dotted line for each and every one of those moves? You's a badass boy when you can convince Pelinka to even bring Russell Westbrook here in lieu of Buddy Hield in the first place, just so you can get mad and have Rich Paul start leaking that y'all upset with him because he didn't trade him at the deadline. What type of mental illness is this that we going through in this country, man? You fought for Russell Westbrook to be there. And now you get to trash Rob Pelinka through Rich Paul in the media because he didn't trade him at the deadline? It's not happening, bro. Y'all can go. You and Bronny can go play on the fucking Harlem Globetrotters for all I care. It's not happening, bro.
Yeah, no, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it at all.
Stupid.
I mean, I'm going to get you for a farewell tour, and Bronny, who's not even. Yeah, good luck with that.
Fam, we are 9th in the West right now. With you having one of your best seasons ever. I hate these announcers so fucking much. I hate them so much. Even some of the ones that I like are starting to do it, man. Mark Jackson, Doris Burke. It's like this unwavering deference that they show to these NBA players. Y'all don't have no criticism for none of them? None of them? Nobody's worth criticizing? The fact that LeBron's fucking turnovers are up this season. The fact that his assists are down. The fact that he has never, and I mean never, taken the time that he has needed to perfect free throw shooting and mid-range shooting. The fact that his athleticism has come down so much that he's almost living at the top of the key behind the three-point line. Now, am I supposed to sit up here and act like, oh, well, I can see that with my expert NBA brain. I guess Doris Burke is just missing it. I guess Mark Jackson is just missing it.
From courtside.
Come on, man. It's okay. Y'all didn't have a problem with talking about Kobe when he was getting old. What is this? What is it? Why are we pretending that LeBron is still getting better? Niggas have been saying that for the last 5 years, and it's pissed me off every single fucking time. Every time he's dropped something from his game. Oh, he's still getting better. This is amazing. We've never seen this in sports. One dub. Going to give it out to none other than Shoelace himself, Mr. Denard Robinson, for making his way back to Michigan. He is going to be the director of player personnel. So heavily involved in recruiting. Try to shore up, some of the losses that we've had with, certain coordinators leaving, Josh Gaddis, Mike McDonald, even with Sean Nua. That's mostly where you'll see the hurt in recruiting, I believe, is with Sean Nua, because he was a really good guy to have out on the trail for you. But bringing back Denard Robinson, Mr. 4-2, man. So now you got Ron Bellamy, you got Mike Hart, and you got Denard Robinson. You got somebody from the Lloyd Carr era. You got somebody from the Rich Rod era. You even have somebody from the Brady Hoke, early Jim Harbaugh era, and Grant Newsom. You know what I mean? Like, I like the idea of bringing back former players to work the staff. I love it. I think it works out well. You guys had, was it Vrabel that came back to coach linebackers?
You mean recently, or at some point?
At some point, it was
I think Mike it was Vrabel. Yeah,
and he coached Ryan Shazier. He coached Joshua Perry. He coached Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, yep.
So when your linebackers were good, you had a good position coach and a former player.
I think one of the Bosa brothers too.
Isn't Brian Hartline still the wide receivers coach?
Yep.
My point exactly. Who had the best wide receiver core in the Big Ten last year? So I'm definitely down for it. I'm glad to see him back in the fold, and I like that we have a guy from each generation of modern Michigan football. You got the Carr, you got the Rodriguez era, unfortunately now. You got the Hoke era, you got the Harbaugh era, all being represented on that staff. I think it'll go a long way to keeping the fan base together. But that's it. That's all I got. I took a little bit of time on that, but
there you go.
You up, bro?
First and second, I guess technically, but they're coming together because they're from the same event. You haven't seen the Kanye live stream event where he played some of the songs from Donda 2 and some of the songs from Donda 1, which I thought was kind of weird. Not only did he play some of the songs, but he did some of the same shit with like the Baby and Marilyn Manson, and just like
Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
What
Marilyn Manson's on Jail Part 2 with the Baby. that weird, really random vocal that comes and sings, "Guess Who's Going to Jail Tonight?" That's Marilyn Manson.
Maybe I just haven't listened to Jail Part 2 enough.
The one with the baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think I feel like I've heard it enough to recognize fucking Marilyn Manson on the song.
The one who's like, "Guess who's going to jail
tonight?" That's not Kanye?
No.
Guess who's going to jail tonight?
The normal is just Kanye, but then there's one on Jail Part 2, like a little bit later in the song that's like an additional vocal.
I'll go back and listen to it.
It's Marilyn Manson. Anyway, so Kanye's audio engineer gets an L because, bro, like some of the vocals were like extremely delayed. I'm seeing 5Yo Foreign basically fight with his own verse because you hear him like rapping it, but then you also hear a backing vocal, which is like going against how he's doing it. It sounded fucking terrible. It sounded awful, especially for a Kanye event, bro.
I heard they were having some technical difficulties.
The really bad ones.
I mean, when you do this much to roll out an album, something's bound to go wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, when you do this much, there's bound to be some sort of complications. And as many of these live listening parties that we've had from Kanye, eventually, yeah, it's going to start. It would have to. Law of averages tell you eventually you're going to have something like that go wrong.
For sure. I mentioned 5Yo Foreign having issues with his verse because that was also coupled with Playboi Carti coming out and doing Off the Grid with 5Yo and Kanye.
We off the grid.
Playboi Carti came out looking like fucking Jeff Hardy, fresh off of a ladder match. Like he was part of the Insane Clown Posse or some shit, yelling all over the track, which made the audio worse because he doesn't do that in the song. And just fucking peaking vocals and just yelling randomly. It was fucking nuts. It was pandemonium. I hated every second of it.
It was pandemonium. I hated it.
Yeah, that was fucking wild. But, you know, he played some of the songs from Donda too, which I thought were pretty okay. So I'll give him that at least. My next and last L goes to two people again. I watched a URL event last night.
Uh-oh.
It didn't include twerk, so we don't have to go there today.
Was he supposed to be there and didn't show up, or he just didn't have a match?
He wasn't on the card.
Got you.
Some of the events or some of the battles that were on the card were Charlie Clips and Luke Castro. Luke Castro's a new dude who I was looking forward. That battle didn't happen. So that I don't know. I didn't get the news on why that didn't happen, but I was looking forward to that battle and it didn't happen. So now that leaves only two battles that I cared about. First battle that I cared about, Averb versus Easy to Block Captain, happened. Averb actually showed up with decent rounds, but Easy to Block Captain came through and 3-0'd him, which is cool. Easy to Block Captain is doing his fucking thing. Obviously, he's also on Bel Air.
I'm about to say winning, huh?
You know what I mean? But my L goes to DNA and Hollow to Don, who were facing each other. Hollow to Don has been on an amazing losing streak, which is rough because he's a legend. He's a battle rap legend, and it's just K-Shine, DNA, Arsenal. He's been on a crazy losing streak, and he just hasn't been performing well at all. This is actually probably one of his best performances and still very lackluster. But DNA, I don't understand why people like DNA. I don't understand. Like the things that he raps, never believable. He rapped about clapping machetes at one point. How the fuck do you clap a machete?
Cling, cling.
Like,
cling, cling.
Like he's not believable. I don't think he's ever been in the streets whatsoever. And then, you got the whole Joe Biden thing.
So he's the Drake of battle rap.
Yeah, but people fucking like him, and I don't know why.
So he's the Drake of battle rap.
Yeah. But yeah, just the battle was terrible. That was the battle I was kind of really looking forward to because I didn't think Averb was going to show up. And it was just fucking awful on both sides. Terrible. And I hope I never see that shit again. I don't even want to see Hollow again, which sucks because I'm a pretty big fan of Hollow to Don. But anyway, let's move on to my dubs. Let's make quick work of these dubs. The Proud Family premiered their reboot. Did you see any of the episodes yet?
Not yet.
A lot of LGBT situations going on in it.
New characters, or are we swapping orientations?
Not necessarily new characters. Michael is trans. Remember Michael, who was the cheerleader? He's a girl now.
Okay.
But, okay. And then I think we got, who's the makeup guy? James Charles. He's a guy who does like makeup tutorials, like insanely huge. I think he played a character in one of the episodes. But I guess that's the extent of the whole LGBT thing, though. But it was quite a bit.
So Michael's a girl now, and Sticky has been written out, I heard.
Yeah. Yep. Sticky dipped out.
So where are the black boys on the top?
So they took out Sticky, but in his place there is a character named KG or something like that, who's played by A Boogie with a hoodie. But he's the brother.
How are all of these rap niggas getting these roles?
Yeah, I don't know.
What is happening?
In that case, he's not really acting as much. He's doing voice acting, and he's not really voice acting. He's doing his regular ass voice. He just has to read.
Oh my God. Okay.
So he's the brother, and then Keke Palmer is the sister, and Keke Palmer plays like this.
Man, Keke Palmer winning, boy.
You know?
Keke Palmer is winning.
You got the Proud Family reboot. You got Nope. You got Alice.
Yeah. Keke Palmer.
She is setting herself up to be the it girl this summer, which I can't be mad at. But other than that, I think the Proud Family reboot kind of picked up exactly where the old Proud Family left off. I mean, it wasn't too bad at all. I enjoyed both episodes. I don't like how they're rolling it out in weeks, because Proud Family's like not a show.
Release. Yeah, no.
But it's not a show to do that
I think they're
with.
Probably testing it. Well, no, I mean, you wouldn't need to test it, because they have like multiple shows that they're doing weekly releases on. All of their shows do that.
Yeah. No,
they should be trying to beta just release the whole season at one time.
Yeah, no, I could sit there and I probably wouldn't binge all of it, but I can watch a couple of episodes every now and then, as opposed to having to wait for the couple of episodes.
Sure.
I don't know. I think it's a little much, but definitely fuck with it. My next dub goes to my nephew, who is 11 years old. It's not his birthday, but I wanted to point that out because we were, I had to go take him to his house to go pick up a charger. Mm. And on the way there, he starts talking about what's going on with Russia and Ukraine.
Which I don't even fully understand what the impetus of Russia invading Ukraine is.
And I'm just like, where are you hearing about this? How do you know about this shit? Social media, of course.
Yeah.
So because of that, I kind of had to check his sources, because you don't know what the fuck he's being told about.
You know what though, man? The gap between establishment news conglomerates and social media information, it's
getting narrower and
getting
narrower.
Very narrow. It's getting so narrow.
Yep.
Like I can't. It's hard to decipher sometimes. Mm-hmm. It really is, and you know what tells me that separation is starting to disappear? Look at how many of those news sources are desperately trying to increase their presence on these social media apps.
Yeah. Yep.
Like desperately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trying hard as hell, doing anything they can. They call a foul on that.
Yeah, no, they're all over YouTube, Twitter, because that's where a lot of people are getting their news from these days.
It's fucking terrible, man. It's terrible, and you can't. I can only trust half of what I see on television now from any of these news stations. So I might as well be looking on social media,
especially when you're watching MSNBC or CNN, and you're seeing, sirens going off in the Ukraine. And it's getting interrupted by an Applebee's commercial.
Jesus Christ.
That was so fucking nuts. I'm sitting here watching a fucking cowboy twerk for beer at Applebee's while sirens are going off in Ukraine.
And a little bit of chicken fried. Cold beer on a Friday night. A pair of jeans that fit just right.
Like real wartime type implications, y'all. Like y'all don't even understand, and all of the shit that's going on with neighboring countries, like what other countries are doing right now in the midst of this situation with Ukraine. Let's go, Caleb fucking Houston. Let's fucking go. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's distracting. But United States bomb Somalia, Saudi Arabia leading strikes in, is it Yemen? I mean, they've been, that's been a human rights issue. If anyone doesn't know, there's a trade embargo on Yemen. They aren't letting food, medical supplies, water, anything into that area. United States ally, by the way. Who else doing fuck shit? China moving in on Taiwan. It's like, oh, well, you're distracted, so while Russia's trying to take their piece, we'll take ours.
Yeah.
It's a lot of crazy shit going on right now, man.
I was just shocked by how an 11-year-old pretty much knew the extent of what I knew about the war going on in Ukraine. I knew maybe a little bit more, but like I was like, fuck. Like, he's 11. Like, he knows basically what's going on in the Ukraine.
The information passes quicker, and I hate to say it, but there's less of an agenda to set a narrative.
Yeah.
Think about how insane that is, y'all. There's less of an agenda to set a narrative on Twitter when we talk about news than it is on Fox News or CNN.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand how crazy that is?
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And it didn't seem like he had any biased information about what was going on. It's crazy. My last dub goes to the boys. We just had our first live stream on Thursday.
Yes, sir.
And we would love it if you guys showed up for the next one. We will be reviewing Snowfall in Bel Air like we did last week. Pull up, man. It's good times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Join us. Come out. Kick it. We have great conversations. We try to work our way through most of the episodes. We'll be doing the replays every week as well. We'll be getting those posted up the next day, but we definitely appreciate it if you could join us live. Come kick it with us.
For sure. That's all I got.
That's it for me.
Cool.
Give us your thoughts on this week's dubs and L's. Give us your dubs and L's for the week as well. Let us know what you liked, didn't like in the comments below.
And make sure you check out our playlist of dubs and L's. Go back and catch up on all the ones that we've done before. And we like to do this every Wednesday. So subscribe and make sure you check out what we got to say every Wednesday.